So, hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Folge Dead Synchronicity. In der letzten Folge haben wir den Deckel draußen auf die Tonne gepackt, oder der Penner einen Hustenanfall bekommt und wir in seinen Sachen rumwühlen konnten. Watt hat jetzt die Tür geöffnet, daher schauen wir jetzt da mal rein.
What are you doing here? Get out of here! You've no business being in this room!
Rod, I'm sorry. But what's going on?
Get out of here, Michael! You didn't see anything, understood? Out! Out! Excuse my outburst, Michael. I shouldn't have behaved that way. It's not like me. But this new world brings out the worst in all of us. It's just that I can't stand to see Colin suffer this way. So for your own good, please, stay away from this room.
Away? Why?
It's no use trying to hide it. You're bound to find out sooner or later. Colin is very sick, and the authorities claim his illness is highly contagious.
Highly contagious? Is he one of the dissolved?
Michael! I won't let anyone use that word in my house! Yes, Colin caught that damn disease.
So, und was genau ist das für eine Krankheit?
And what exactly does the disease consist of?
I don't know, Michael. No one really does. The only news is what the army brings us. They say the disease is highly contagious, and it's our duty to turn over all victims to the cleanup brigades. But no one has ever come back after being carried off in one of those ambulances. No one. So we can't let them take Colin, do you understand?
Yes, of course I understand.
They say that all the victims are condemned, that there's no salvation for anyone, that at the end of their suffering and their trances lies certain death. I think that even the army is afraid of the victims. Really strange things happen around them, Michael. Things you wouldn't believe.
So, was für Dinge passieren mit den Leuten, die mit der Krankheit infiziert sind?
What things happen around people infected with the disease?
Strange things with no possible explanation. In their trances, they go places, Michael. They bring back information. They know things. They talk to people who are no longer with us. And we've been living like this for weeks. The things that are happening around Colin are getting more and more confusing and hard to bear.
Talking to the dead? Jesus. This man's nerves are shot from the exhaustion and stress.
Aber wie hat Colin sich
But how did
angesteckt?
Colin get infected?
We don't know. No one knows how the disease is spread. The only thing we know is that the disease appeared after the catastrophe, and that it's spreading like wildfire.
So the Great Wave brought the dissolved with it?
Yes, but don't use that word again. Not in this house, anyway. It's so cruel and disrespectful. In effect, that's the only thing we know for sure about all this insanity. The Great Wave took everything from us and left us with this epidemic.
What's happening to Colin is terrible. If only there was something I could do.
Well, Michael, you can help us. I'm convinced that our finding you was no coincidence. You've got to help us.
Ja, vielleicht war es kein Zufall, aber du hast selbst gesagt, dass alle Opfer sterben. Wie kann
But
ich
you said
helfen?
yourself that all the victims are condemned. What can I do?
No, all is not lost. In the camp, there are rumors of a cure. It seems that in the city, on the other side of the fence, the victims have access to a drug. But we can't get it here. And my contacts out there, well, let's just say they can't do anything to help.
Es gibt also ein Medikament, das sie heilen kann?
So there's a drug that can cure them.
Yes, but they say that producing it takes a long time and is very expensive. And so it's reserved for city dwellers who can afford to pay for it. Get us that drug, Michael. I beg of you, please. Colin's time is running out.
Sich da einzumischen scheint gefährlich zu sein. Ich habe die Schießerei draußen gesehen und was ist mit Ansteckungsgefahr?
Getting involved looks dangerous. I saw that shooting out there. There's also the possibility of infection.
Infection? Are you afraid for your life, Michael? Without our help, you'd be dead right now. Dead. Don't forget that. What's more, I could help you in return. I could help you get back what you lost. Don't you see?
Give me back what I lost? But you hardly know me, Rod.
I know the essential part, Michael. I know that you're a blankhead.
Blankhead? What the devil does that mean?
A blankhead is a person with no memories, who can't remember anything. It seems that the Great Wave had an enormous neurological impact on certain people, Michael. You're not the only one, or even the worst case. There are people who even forgot how to talk and how to walk after the explosion. Some ended up dying of starvation. They forgot what food looked like, how to chew it, even that eating was a necessity. You can consider yourself lucky. You still remember how to keep yourself alive. And that's the important thing. The natural recovery process is slow. It can take months, if at all. Listen to me, Michael. A man without memories is just a shadow, or even worse, he's nobody. I still have some contacts out there. I was an important man in the municipal government. I could trace your name, your data in public records, your fingerprints. I could restore your whole life in the blink of an eye. But please, help us.
I'm grateful for your help, Rod, and for everything you people have done for me. But
listen to me, Michael. We know that it's possible that our son is condemned to die. In fact, my wife and I have everything prepared for when he leaves us. Our child is the only thing that keeps us holding on in the new world. Nothing would have any meaning for us without him. So if there is even the slightest chance of saving him, we are prepared to do whatever it takes. Please, Michael, help us. For God's sake, listen to him. He's just a child.
Rod, come in here, quickly!
Bring us that cure, and we'll help you get your life back. Colin is our only hope in this new world. Help us save our future, and I'll give you back your past. I promise you. Goodbye, Michael.
no, Rod, wait. Bring a drug? Is he out of his mind? That man wants me to put his son's life in my hands? I can barely remember who I am. When I probably wouldn't last more than a few hours out there. But Rod was right. A man without a past is nothing more than a shadow. He offered to help me get my life back, my memories. So if I want answers, I have only one possible course of action: to get that drug.
Ja, helfen wir ihm oder nicht? Wir haben ja nicht mehr eine Wahl gehabt. Aber ich würde sagen, wir helfen ihm einfach.
Wait a minute. Before leaving, I should write down everything important I find out in this notebook. It might come in handy if, as Rod says, I'm one of the blankheads the Great Wave left in its wake.
Oh, was? Wo ist denn mein Deckel? Gib meinen Deckel wieder.
Can I ask you a few questions?
I'll answer anything you want, as long as you don't get near my stuff.
Well, I'll be going on my way. Good luck to you, pal.
Just be sure to stay away from my things.
Ja, so, jetzt kann ich meinen Deckel nicht wieder nehmen. Also er hatte nichts weiter Wichtiges. Kommen wir jetzt da irgendwie dran? Nein. Also die Autotür können wir nicht öffnen. Dann gehen wir einmal jetzt. Also da kommen wir dann zum.
Damn it. What's going on? It's amazing. Everything's changing again. Everything. Everything is mutating. And I haven't even moved. I don't understand. I don't understand anything.
Ja, ich auch nicht. Okay. Zaun. Da gehen wir erstmal nicht hin. Werden wir wahrscheinlich gleich erschossen. Betonhaus. Und da oben bei die Schießerei, da ist der...
A quick glance at these tents is enough to make you realize how forsaken these poor people are, confined against their will inside the camp.
Ja. So, gehen wir jetzt hin. Ich würde sagen...
It's the enormous fence around the perimeter of the camp, with surveillance from the towers and on the ground. This barbed wire fence intensifies the feeling of claustrophobia in here, making it even more suffocating.
Ja, aber eine Mauer wäre schlimmer. Da haben wir nichts, da haben wir nichts. Reihe von Fässern.
Someone placed a bunch of those rusty drums up against the wall. Ugh. They smell like liquor and industrial oil. Oh, Jesus. The cocktail of odors is nauseating. Okay, here goes. It's impossible to budge these drums at all. I don't know what they contain, but whatever it is, it weighs a ton.
Okay. Das Gebäude.
Although it seems shoddily and hastily built, it's surprising to see a brick-and-mortar building in the midst of all the trailers and hovels in the refugee camp. No doubt this must belong to someone important, or with very good contacts in here.
Und er hat sogar Strom hier. Ja, schon mal was. Da fast. Fässer. Gut, dann reden... Ja, ein bisschen Zeit haben wir noch. Die letzte Folge war ja schon wieder ganz schön lang. So, reden wir doch mal mit dem einsamen Einwohner. Beziehungsweise erstmal anschauen.
Another camp inhabitant. He seems quite elderly. What's he doing here all by himself?
Fragen wir ihn doch mal.
Hello.
Hello, son. Would you like to get a little closer to the fire?
Thanks, mister. This is a rather isolated part of the camp. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm waiting. That's all. Just waiting.
Du wartest und worauf genau wartest du?
You're waiting. And what is it you're waiting for exactly?
Nothing in particular. The usual. For the fire to go out, for sunrise, for it to get cold again. I'm waiting for something to change. Or for everything to stay as it is. I'm just waiting. You're too young to understand.
Okay. Es wird langsam kalt. Wo ist dein Zelt oder eine
It's starting to get cold. Where's your tent? Or your trailer?
Yes, I had a tent once. They issued me one when I decided to enter the refugee camp after the Great Wave. A trailer was out of the question. They went to the families with the best contacts. Ah, you know how it is. Even in purgatory, some people are more equal than others.
Ja, alle sind gleich. Nur einige sind gleicher. Ein Zitat aus Animal Farm. Ist es doch Animal Farm? Ist der Film, glaube ich. Wo die Tiere die Farm übernehmen und erst sind alle Tiere gleich und dann sind die Schweine aber die Anführer. Aber das nur so am Rande. Wer den Film da sehen will, da geht's um ja eigentlich um den Kommunismus und so. Also indirekt. Ist ganz interessant. So, du hast gesagt, du hättest dich dafür entschieden, in das Lager zu ziehen. Heißt das, die Leute wurden nicht dazu gezwungen?
You say that you decided to enter the camp. Does that mean that people weren't forced to come here?
Oh, no, of course not. Why would they have to force us? The catastrophe hit the city hard. Those of us who had lost our homes were invited to come here. In principle, it was temporary, just until the authorities got the situation under control and started rebuilding. We used to have food, water, and a place to sleep.
But now it's more like a prison camp than a refugee center. What happened?
I don't really know. I guess something went wrong. The new housing they promised us never got built. And in the end, the army seized control of the camp. The food ran out, and then the water supply. Nobody bothered to replace them. Seems like our lives didn't matter anymore.
I see.
In time, things in here started to get very ugly. There were riots, uprisings, and the army decided to close the gates of the camp without any notice. One day they decided that no one could enter or leave here. Well, actually, people still could. Enter, that is. Now, this is where anyone who gets in the way in the city ends up. Or anyone they don't know what to do with.
So, this has turned into something like a concentration camp.
That's right, son. That's exactly what it is. You know, it's funny. I remember when my father told us about the war in Europe, about all the persecution, the deportations, those overcrowded cattle cars. That all sounded to us like an old movie, an old horror movie. And look at us now. I guess some things never change. They just stop being visible for long enough for us to forget about them.
And where's your tent now?
Wo ist dein Zelt geblieben? Ja?
It was stolen from me a while back. They fetch a good price on the black market now.
Stolen? But how could anyone...
You seem to be new in the camp, am I right? These things happen nowadays. It's best to take things as they come. The reality of the new world is very simple, son. The soldiers and the moles do whatever they like on this side of the fence. And the hunter and his men run the black market and all the dirty rackets. I suggest you memorize all this.
The hunter. I've exchanged a few words with him, but I hardly know him. Yes. The man who protected me during all the shooting. He seems like someone with good connections and some answers. Could he know anything about the drug for treating the dissolved? Do you know where I can find him?
You can find him in those barracks at the back. That's his... well, let's say it's his logistics office. Now, the hunter is very dangerous. Watch your step around him and his men. I happened to meet his father when he was young. He was a violent, degenerate son of a bitch. A real asshole. And I'm afraid his son has followed in his footsteps.
Alter, was sind denn da für Ausdrücke hier drin? Nee.
Let's talk about something else.
So, sag mal, gibt es einen Weg aus dem Lager
So tell me,
rauszukommen?
is there any way to get out of the camp?
I'm sorry, son. The only way to get out of this camp is to know someone important who can pull strings for you. Or to become a camp mole. Those traitorous scumbags have gate passes.
I see.
I'm not surprised you want to get out of this shithole. You've no doubt got something to do or someone to find out there. Well, they say things are better in the city, that there's order and that things are starting to function again. But who knows? Well, at least they have Reverend Blake and the consolation of Suicide Park.
So, wer ist Reverend Blake?
Who's Reverend Blake?
He's a preacher who sometimes comes from the city to bring us a little comfort. Now, some people make jokes about him, but many of us believe that he's a prophet. You should hear him speak sometime. His words etch themselves deeply into your soul. That's why he has so many followers inside and outside the camp.
So, die Folge ist schon wieder viel zu lang. Wir reden in der nächsten Folge weiter mit dem einsamen Mann, war das gut. Und bis dahin, tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.